Surprise about it.
Need some spicy Time Spiral Remastered reprints, maybe some cool old border cards? Well, you can pre-order Time Spiral Remastered now from our sponsor Card Kingdom by heading over to cardkingdom.com. Hello everyone, it's Seth, probably better known as Saffron Olive, and it's time for another edition of Much Abrew About Nothing. And you're probably wondering, wait, why are we already in Moto? Where's the deck tech? Well, the answer to that is, we're playing a deck that's so sweet and so unique that you really gotta see it all laid out in front of you to understand what's going on. And that deck, I'm calling it Storm Herald Surprise. So it's a Storm Herald or a Reanimator one-shot kill deck, but with a big transformational sideboard twist. So here is the plan of the deck. Gonna break it out real quick, jump into some game scene in action. So in game one, we're a Storm Herald deck. Storm Herald, when it comes into play, you can reanimate any number of auras for one turn. So what we're trying to do is pretty simple. We are using Hedron Crabs, Jaces, Glimpse the Unthinkables, Is It Charms to hopefully get Prodigious Growth, Eldrazi Conscriptions, and Battle Masteries into our graveyard. So the idea is if we have like Eldrazi Conscription, Prodigious Growth, Battle Mastery, it's pretty easy to one-shot kill with Storm Herald. We can even like mill over the Storm Herald and use Unearth to get it back. We have Collective Brutality to clear removal out of the way and discard stuff with Escalate. So in game one, that's the only way our deck's gonna win. We are 100% all in on getting a Storm Herald on the battlefield with some of our big auras and maybe double strike in the graveyard and one-shot killing our opponent. And we can do this really fast. Like, with a nut draw, we could technically do it on turn 2. Like, Hedron Crab, fetch land, mill over Storm Herald, Eldrazi Conscription, Battle Mastery, unearth the Storm Herald, win the game on turn 2. Turn 3, probably more likely. So the plan is really, really good, except it has one big issue, which is if our opponent has Graveyard Hate, it all falls apart. Like, our main deck literally cannot be Graveyard Hate. We can't cast these. We don't have enough lands to reasonably cast Eldrazi Conscription. Don't have green mana for Prodigious Growth. So if our opponent can shut down our reanimation plan with Storm Herald, our deck just can't win. But we got an answer for that in the sideboard, which I think is super hilarious. So when we go to game number 2, if we think our opponent is a deck that probably has Graveyard Hate, what do? The answer is, this entire combo we were just talking about, we take the whole thing out. The entire thing goes into the sideboard, and we get to bring in 4 Archive Traps for more mill. We get to bring in 4 Ruin Crabs to go up to 8 crabs. We get to bring in Cryptic Incursions for Graveyard Hate and Life Gain. We can bring in Jace's Phantasm, some number. That gets us almost to 60 cards. We go down one of something depending on the matchup. Maybe a Collective Brutality depending on the matchup, or a Jace's Phantasm. But essentially, what we do is we turn into a deck that doesn't care about our own graveyard at all. Instead, in game 2, our opponent's going to bring in all their Leyline of the Voids and Rest in Pieces and Nile Spellbombs and Torbon's Crypts and you name it. They're going to bring in every piece of Graveyard Hate they have. And then we are going to transform into a deck that's like a janky mill deck. Now we have 8 crabs, we have Archive Trap, we have Glimpse the Unthinkable. So the idea is, instead of milling ourselves, we're just going to aggressively mill our opponent, and if they have Graveyard Hate, whatever. Like, we literally don't care about their Graveyard Hate anymore. So it's a hilarious way to get around our opponent's Graveyard Hate. And then in game 3, if our opponent's like freaking out and like, oh no, they're milling us now, I better like bring out some of my Graveyard Hate, then we can always go back again. Take out the Cryptic Incursions, take out the Ruined Crabs, take it all back out, and then just bring the combo back into the deck for game 3 if we don't happen to win game 2. So that's a plan to this deck. That is Storm Herald Surprise. That's our Bunch of Brew deck for this week. Let's jump into it, see the deck in action. Thanks for watching. I hope you all enjoy it, and I'll be back in a bit with a wrap up. All right. Much Brew About Nothing time. We are... Oh boy, we need this. We need this Jace to live. Oh, it's risky. It is risky. These are all cards that we need in our graveyard. If Jace sticks, we can loot them. Or maybe we just mulligan. Oh boy. Well, we got a Storm Herald, but no way to mill. All right, this will keep. This will keep. We will put... Is It Charm and Gloom. Let's put 2 Is It Charms to the bottom. All right, so we are playing a pretty interesting janky mill deck. Grab an island, play a Hedron Crab, go. So yeah, this is this is a deck that is a Storm Herald deck in game 1 that then turns into a mill deck potentially to get around Graveyard Hate in game 2. Well, untap land. mill ourselves. Well, there's a Storm Herald, but not lethal yet. So let's glimpse the unthinkable, mill ourselves. And, yeah. All right, so, okay. If our opponent taps out, we win next turn. We need to dodge Thoughtseize. Let's send a crab message. Boom. It's coming for you, opponent. All right, no Thoughtseize. No Thoughtseize. I mean, because right now, look at our graveyard. Unearth, we get back Storm Herald. We get 2 Prodigious Growths, Eldrazi Conscription, and Battle Mastery. That is lethal times 10. The best part is, all right, no Thoughtseize. Just run out your Dark Confidant. Run out your Dark Confidant. It'll be fine. Untap land. This better not be Tide Hollow Sculler. All right. Oh, yes. Yes, yes, yes. Opponent getting a Batter Skull, but we will unearth, targeting Storm Herald, and let the games begin. Storm Herald. We'll get back Prodigious Growth, Eldrazi Conscription, and Battle Mastery. Put them all on Storm Herald. And, yeah, that's a casual 27 power hasty double striker here on turn 3. Oh, so close, opponent. You almost had a Batter Skull. You almost got us. Well, opponent skips it up. So now do we jank them out? And I think the answer is yes. So I think for game 2, because of Graveyard Hate, we're actually going to cut all of our combo pieces. We're going to bring in Crypt Incursions. We're going to bring in Archive Traps. We're going to bring in Ruin Crabs and maybe Jace's Phantasms. Something like this. So we completely get rid of reliance on our own graveyard. Unearth sticks around, but that's fine. Like, Unearth, we can cycle it. Or maybe it like gets back a Jace or a Hedron Crab or something. But the idea is, our opponent's probably going to bring in Graveyard Hate to try to hate us out. And we are going to counter that by bringing in mill stuff. And then this game, we're going to target all of our mill stuff at our opponent and try to mill our opponent out. And then we'll see. We'll see what Graveyard Hate our opponent has. Like, if our opponent doesn't show us Graveyard Hate this game as we mill their deck, then we will potentially switch back for game 3. That sounds pretty good. Conceal Courtyard. And, yes, all right, there's a Graveyard Hate Nile Spellbomb. Well, let's Watery Grave and a Ruin Crab. Go. About it. Schwamp. And kills a Ruin Crab. Well, we will... The Ruin Crab would be sweet. Let's Polluted Delta, crack it, grab an island, and we'll just run out Jace. Go. About it. Kind of want our opponent to crack a fetch so we can, Archive Trap, or Stoneforge also works. About it. Paths. Well, grab a mountain. Alright, so opponent, double removal to start things off, that's fine. Concealed Courtyard. And Ashiok. Alright. So opponent brought in a ton of Graveyard Hate. Exiles our stuff. Well, play Hedron Crab. Scalding Tarn. Milieu. And let's Brutality. Alright, Sword of Feast and Famine in a Field of Ruin. Alright, pass the turn. Yes, Ashiok is annoying, not so much because it's milling us, but because it is keeping us from cracking fetch lands, which is awkward. Field of Ruin. About it. Runs out the sword, sure. Exiles some stuff, and passes. Opponent has still not searched their library at all. Well, let's Scalding Tarn, Milieu, Cycle Unearth. Alright, Jace's Phantasm, go. Jace's Phantasm is at least a way we can potentially beat down this Ashiok and then crack our fetch lands. Our opponent was out of removal as of last turn. We'll see. See what they find. I expect they're going to crack their Nile Spellbomb at some point. Opponent untaps. Come on. Search your library so we can cast this Archive Trap. Opponent. Land. Passes. Polluted Delta. Milieu. Go to combat. Attack the Ashiok. Kill it. Okay. Wow, opponent did not crack that. They could have exiled their own graveyard. Yeah, pass the turn. I mean, the transformational sideboard is kind of working. Opponent untaps. Crack it. Crack it. Oh, opponent's not going to crack it. Okay. Well, crack Scalding Tarn. Watery Grave. Tapped. Milieu. Crack Scalding Tarn. Blood Crypt. Untapped. Milieu. Polluted Delta. Steam Vents. Untapped. Milieu. Archive Trap. Milieu. And untap. Well, go to combat. Headshot. And we can gain a ridiculous amount of life. Gonna hold on to this crab, I think. Opponent does have Thought Seizes. Well, alright, we'll play the... They probably don't have sweepers. We'll play the crab. Pass the turn. Opponent might have wanted to correct their marsh flats, because they're at risk of us milling all their fetchable lands. Alright, has a Godless Shrine. 60 cards in the deck. We can also... we need this Nile Spellbomb to go away. And then we can gain a ton of life with Crypt Incursion. Opponent. Godless Shrine tapped. Last card. Skyclave Apparition. Sure. Gonna get rid of the Phantasm. Yeah. Well, we're in a pretty enviable spot where lands are good and most of our non-lands are also good. Alright, Polluted Delta. Milieu. Crack Polluted Delta. Get a Blood Crypt. Tapped. Milieu. And opponent, 6 cards. 6 cards left, 3 cards left. I don't think they can kill us before they get milled out. Pass the turn. Opponent. We can also chump block with a crab. We only need 1. Opponent. Combat. Attacks. Well, let's Crypt Incursion you. So opponent's got a Nile Spellbound themselves. We're gonna try to wait before we chump block. Take our hit this turn. Go to 4. Alright, opponent does crack. Nukes their own graveyard. Alright, so land wins it. Any mill spell wins it. The only thing that's, like, actively bad here is, I guess, like, is it Charm? Random creature's fine, because it can block. Wow. Alright. Well, that is exactly Is It Charm. Well, we will pass the turn. Yeah, that is the one card that's bad. Opponent goes combat. Attacks. Well, this time we are going to chump. Stay at 5. Opponent passes. Alright. Well, that should do it. The least powerful glimpse of the unthinkable of all time. Mills a single card. But, yeah. The single card is all we need milled. Pass the turn, and that was exactly what this deck wanted to do. Exactly. Like, that was it. That was the plan. Game 1, turn 3 kill with our Storm Herald plan. Game 2, look at our opponent's deck. Like, look at how much it changed. Our opponent brought in a ridiculous amount of graveyard hate. Nile Spellbomb, Ashiok, Kaya's Guile, Nile Spellbomb, Ashiok, Nile Spellbomb. So our opponent brought in a ton of graveyard hate spells, which don't actually do anything against our deck now. Like, we sideboarded out all of our stuff that cares about the graveyard, and now we just target them with mill spells. Our opponent also overloaded on targeted removal, thinking they'd be able to snag our Storm Herald when it comes into play, which makes sense, but they don't have the answers for us just throwing mill spells and crab activations at their face. That was sweet. That was super sweet. All right. Much brew about nothing time. We are janking our opponents out with Storm Herald and then transforming into a mill deck for games 2. I don't even know what to call this deck. Storm Herald Surprise, maybe? Something like that. This hand's actually pretty good. All right. It's Tron. Wow. Okay. But opponents mulliganed a lot, and unless they randomly kept a graveyard hate spell, which would be very disappointing, they should get killed on turn. Another Storm Herald. Well, Scalding Tarn. I mean, so we can collect a Brutality, discard Conscription. Boy. If our opponent's 3-card hand ends with a Karn, I'm going to be a little bit sad. So opponent gets to get Tron. Well, we will Swamp and 2-mode Brutality, discard Conscription. All right, just a Forest. Okay, so as long as our opponent doesn't have a miraculous top deck, this Storm Herald should be enough. It doesn't literally win the game, but annihilating 2 Tron lands is pretty good. All right, Tron. Opponent passes. Well, Blood Crypt. Untapped. Storm Herald. Yes, please. On you. And annihilate you. Oh, postscripts it up. Okay. We got there. The question is, what is our plan for game 2? Ooh, Tron does have a lot of graveyard hate. Ooh. So I usually have relics in the main deck. The question is, do we actually... does Mill beat Tron, I guess? Like, are we transforming or not? It's a pretty all-or-nothing plan. Crypt Incursion isn't great. If we had Surgical Extraction, then I would be all about transforming. The problem is if we don't transform, and our opponent draws like Relic, we're not going to win, and they have it in their main deck, I guess we got to transform. All right, out and in and down and unearth. Well, all right. Actually, let's go down to Brutality. Brutality doesn't do anything. We'll keep the unearth. At least it cycles. All right. Well, let's see if we mill them out. Well, okay. We got a Ruin Crab and a Glimpse. Those are decent cards. Yeah, we'll keep. Ooh, opponent's keeping 6. All right. Mine and Chromatic Sphere. Well, Island and Ruin Crab. Go. Well, maybe we can mill all the copies of one Tron land. That would be sweet. We do get to mill a lot of cards next turn. Opponent cracks green, and Ancient Stirrings goes digging. Finds a map. All right. Well, Tron is coming. Opponent passes. Well, play a Ruin Crab. Polluted Delta. Milieu. What do they need? A tower? There's 1 tower. 2 towers. Watery Grave. Come on, 2 more towers. Oh, we milled 3. But 3 is not enough. About it. This is going to get interesting. So opponent gets Tron. We get to keep milling. Tower. Yeah. And Chromatic Star. And cracks it for green. And Relic. Sure. And cracks it. Okay. Well, Scalding Tarn. Milieu. Crack Scalding Tarn. Get a Blood Crypt. Tapped. Milieu. Glimpse. Milieu 10. All right. Well, many cards have been milled. We'll see what finishers our opponent has. Hit ya. For 0. Well, what do they got in hand? The bad news is we're out of milling at the moment. Forest. Ancient Stirrings. Finds a Karn. Plays a card. They're probably going to have to snag a Ruin Crab. Yeah, gets a Ruin Crab. Well, come on deck. Is it Charm? Well, let's loot. Ew. Those were not what we were hoping to loot into. Discard a Jace and a Collective Brutality. Unearth the Jace. Pass the turn. Well, we'll see. I don't know how this ends. Would have been nice to hit a land there. Not hitting a land is awkward. I wonder what finishers. 1 Ulamog. I wonder what finishers our opponent has left. Another Tron land. Eats the Jace. Wow! Oh! Okay. Well, yeah. Come on, Glimpse. We need a Glimpse, and we have like 2 turns to hit it. About it. Well, we will cycle Unearth. Pass the turn. Not good. Wow. That's unfortunate. Opponent. Yeah, I feel like Tron, if we had Surgical Extraction, this matchup would probably be great. Might be worth considering for the sideboard. 1 Glimpse, 2 Glimpse, 3 Glimpse. Oh, 4 Glimpse. Okay. Well, now I think we're out of outs now. Boy. Karn. Interesting. Gets a Liquid Metal Coating. Plays it. Yeah. Well, now we don't have anything we can draw that can win us the game, so we will scoop. What plan is less bad? Oh, the mill plan was super close. We are on the play this game. We just don't have surgicals. The bad news about the mill plan is, like, Phantasm isn't good. So we have, like, Brutality is not good. Phantasm isn't good. So we're kind of like a bad mill deck. Unearth really isn't good. The big pinch is we got to decide if we're milling ourselves or milling our opponent. I don't think we can go in between. Actually, can we? Like, Jace isn't good. Can we do both? Wow. Maybe we try to do both and just base it on our hand? Yeah, let's try that. So if our opponent, we'll base it on what our hand looks like. This hand is a Hedron Crab, and that's it. This probably isn't a keep either way. Well, okay. Growth to the bottom. It's going to get interesting if our opponent searches our library. We're going to have a big decision about this archive trap. Well, Watery Grave, untapped, Ruin Crab, go. Urza's mine. About it. Chromatic Star. Well, Hedron Crab. Steam Vents. Tapped. Mill our opponent. We got a Karn. And 2 big Karns. Alright, well, pass the turn. I feel like if our opponent searches our library, we're going to archive trap ourselves. Opponent cracks for green. Tower. Oh, come on, B. Sylvan's crying. Not Ancient Stirrings. Ancient Stirrings the worst because it doesn't search. Okay. Well, that's awkward. Opponent passes. Let's cycle and unearth. Bloodstained Mire. Milieu. Well, now we're definitely on the mill our opponent plan. Crack Bloodstained Mire. Get a Blood Crypt tapped. Milieu. Oh, we've built a lot of finishers. Well, pass the turn. Opponent. Untaps. Natural Tron. Chromatic Star. Cracks it. Is our opponent really going to go through this entire game without searching their library? Oblivion Stone. And, well, come on, fetch land. New. Well, 1-2, Cycle Unearth. Boy. Yeah, there's some awkward draws. Pass the turn. Opponent taps. Another tower. And they have the... Oh, my goodness. Wow. How does this keep happening? How? Yeah, this feels like a really bad matchup for the deck. To the point that I don't know if we ever actually win this matchup, honestly. Opponent. Passing. Well... Fetch land would be decent. Glimpse that we can't cast. Well, pass the turn. Yeah. I think this one's over now. Yeah, this is tough. I feel like this deck 1,000,000% wants Surgical Extraction. If we had Surgical Extraction in our sideboard, I think this matchup is like auto win after sideboarding, or very close to it. Unfortunately... That is not one of our sideboard cards. I'm actually curious if Jace's Phantasm is actually even worth it. Yeah, alright, well, we are dead. Fair enough. Well, we learned something about this deck, which is, while as cool as the deck is, and as sweet as the plan is, it does not have a good plan for Tron. Mill, I think, can be good against Tron because of Surgical Extraction. But we're a pretty bad mill deck. But bad mill is fine if you're punishing your opponent for their sideboarding. Tron just doesn't care, though. We need to be able to get rid of a Tron land with Surgical, so... Yep, alright. Well, on to the next one. Alright, much Abrew about nothing time. We are Storm Herald surprising, and Send actually looks kind of good. We have, alright, let's Polluted Delta. We have 2 Hedron Crabs to start the milling. We have 2 Storm Heralds, technically. Grab an island, Hedron Crab, go. Alright, well, fill the graveyard, hopefully Storm Herald, and then figure out what to do for game 2. The Storm Herald plan has seemed very effective for game 1. About it. Are we getting burnt? If our Hedron Crabs die, it gets worse. Alright, opponent kills Hedron Crab. Play Hedron Crab. Scalding Tarn, mill ourselves. Crack Scalding Tarn, Watery Grave. Ugh, that was probably the wrong land to get. Should have got a Blood Crypt. Mill ourselves. Alright, well, pass the turn. About it. Well, we'll see if we're punished. We definitely should have got a Blood Crypt there. I even had it in my mind. But then I got distracted by Hedron Crab dying. Opponent passes. Alright, so unpunished. Well, Bloodstained Mire. Mill ourselves. Crack Bloodstained Mire. Blood Crypt. Tapped. Mill ourselves. We have not milled a single enchantment. Ooh. Alright, well, we're gonna go for it. Unearth. Storm Herald. Well, we found an Eldrazi Conscription. It is not fully lethal, but annihilating 2 lands seems worth it. Storm Herald, Eldrazi Conscription. Put it on Storm Herald. Annihilate ya. And the good news is we do get to keep the Storm Herald. So worst case, we might... An opponent, that's enough. That's enough. Well, that went well. That went super well. I think, though, we're going to assume our opponents burn. Man, could they not have Graveyard Hate? You know what? I'm really tempted to just run it back. This might be a matchup where our opponent just does not have the Graveyard Hate. You know what? Let's keep it the same. We didn't get to see much of our opponent's deck. If they're mono red mill, they just might not have that much Graveyard Hate. This hand is okay. I don't really like having 2 Conscriptions in hand, but we'll keep it. I mean, Hedron Crab and Jace are good. Oh, Spire Bluff. Greater Gargadon. Well, Steam Vent's untapped. Hedron Crab. Well, now we know what our opponent's doing at least. Gargadon taken down. Scalding Tarn cracks it. Mountain. Talisman. Serum Vision. Well, we're probably going to be getting Restored Balanced. Bloodstained Mire. Mill ourselves. Crack Bloodstained Mire. Get a Swamp. Mill ourselves. Jace. Go. Yeah, let's send a... Boom. Crab message. About it. Well, if they got Restore Balance, then they got us, but... Opt. On the other hand... Ooh. Okay, opt. If we get to untap with the Jace, we got a shot. And the Crab. Because we can double mill, flip Jace, and hopefully mill Storm Herald in. I mean, we are going to have to mill good things. We'll see. Well, Polluted Delta. Mill ourselves. Nothing. Crack Polluted Delta. Get a island. Mill ourselves. Come on, Storm Herald and Unearth. Oh, Storm Herald Unearth. Well, Jace. Discard Eldrazi Conscription. Jace on Unearth. Unearth Storm Herald. Yes, not Hedron Crab. Storm Herald. Yeah, that's not going to do it, though. Because we can put it on the crab. Crab power. Conscription, growth. The best Hedron Crab of all time. Yeah. That is a 24 power Hedron Crab. Got him! Oh, that was so good. All right, much brew about nothing time. We are Soul Herder Surprising, and I think we're gonna keep this. So we don't have a Storm Herald, but in theory, we can self-mill. We can mill a Unearth and then flash it back with Jace to get the Storm Herald. I think that's our current game plan. See what our opponent is up to. Mulliganing to 4. So either we're winning or we're gonna die to Tron. One or the other. Grab an island, play Hedron Crab, go. About it. I guess it could also be Dredge. Dredge and Tron are the two decks that most likely to mulligan into Oblivion and still. Alright, Tron. Opponent plays a tower, passes. Blood Crypt, untapped. Mill ourselves. Play a Jace. Pass the turn. The other scary thing about Tron is they do occasionally have main deck graveyard. Hey, opponent, Tron land passes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, loot with Jace. Discard Conscription. Steam Vents. Untapped. Mill ourselves. Jeez. Ooh, boy. All right. Let's tick up. Oh, this is tough. So is it Charm and just loot into Storm Herald? We can win right now. But that also leaves us open to our opponent Troning. Let's wait one more. But this gives them a chance. Yeah, we're going to wait one more turn. I don't know if this is correct or not. About it. I guess we should have at least ticked up the Jays. About it. Forest. Ancient Stirrings. Yeah, I mean, Jace is going to do one thing, which is Flash Black Unearth, so I guess that's fine, but we should have ticked it up for the sake of ticking it up. Chromatic Sphere, rather. Opponent Sphere, cracks it. Ancient Stirrings. Yeah, we're not going to counter this. We are on the Find Storm Herald win the game plan. Expedition map, so Toronto's going to be coming. Well, end of turn we will loot. Discard Brutality, discard Jace. Untap. Polluted Delta. Mill ourselves. Crack Polluted Delta. Watery Grave. Untapped. Mill ourselves. Alright, there's Storm Herald. Glimpse the Unthinkable. Jace. Unearth. Storm Herald. It's a few friends. Also gonna be a good one. Alright, yeah. You and you. That's triple Eldrazi Conscription. Oh boy, this is the best Storm Herald ever. Yeah, opponent. And that looks like a flawless victory against Tron. I'm sorry, Fred. We got him. Wow, it's so sweet when it works. Oh, all right, we're gonna go mid grade here. We're gonna go down. Oh my God. Oh, all right. So Collective Brutality is straight up bad. I want to be able to mill our opponent out and leave open the possibility of comboing. I really wish if we had Surgical Extraction, our mill plan would be so good against Tron. But since we don't have Surgical Extraction, it's a little questionable. So I feel like we need to. This is probably the worst plan, to try to go like halfway. Like, we'll go down a couple of Jaces. Actually, let's go down all the Jaces. Jaces are pretty slow on the draw, I think. And we'll see what our hand looks like. And we'll see if our opponent draws Graveyard Hate. If they do, then we can try to mill them. If they don't, then maybe we can try to jank them out with Storm Herald again. Oh, jeez. All right. Well, it's going to be interesting. Hopefully our opponent keeps a bad hand with Graveyard Hate. That would be the best. So we have these two Ruin Crabs, but the Ruin Crabs can only mill our opponent. Opponent's mulling to 3. Well, that is a thing Tron does. Boy, with 3 cards. The question is, what do we target with the? Who do we target with the Glimpse the Unthinkable? Wow, it's a forest. Okay, so it's a relic. All right, so opponent mulligan for graveyard hate, which is fine. Which means we are definitely going to try to mill our opponent. Ruin Crab, go. With our opponent not having a Tron land, this might actually work. Opponent, Ancient Stirrings. 2 Ruin Crabs is a lot of mill. Get Blast Zone. All right, well that'll be a problem eventually. That's a problem for 2 lands from now, Seth. Ruin Crab, fetch land is decent. Mill you. Crag Bloodstained Mire. Get a, are we ever gonna, we got black, blue. Yeah, we'll get a Blood Crypt. Blood Crypt tapped. Mill you. All right, well, we milled some things. Tower, power plant, mine, power plant. So we've milled 2 power plants so far. And then if our opponent ever gets desperate and cracks the relic, thinking, oh, they're just going after us, then we can potentially glimpse ourselves in Storm Herald. Oh, this is a convoluted half and half plan. Mine, okay. And we got Sylvan Scrying. Opponent passes. Watery Grave tapped. Mill you. Yeah, let's wait, I guess. Or do we just glimpse them? You know what? Let's glimpse them. Yeah, all right. Mill ya. Pass the turn. Tower, power plant, tower, power plant, power plant, tower. Jeez, so there's 1 each of power plant and mine left? That's not many. If we could go mill 1 more of either, I'm going to feel a lot better. We'll see if our opponent can blast zone us. All right, Sylvan Scrying. Well, that does mean we're not getting blast zone this turn. And it does mean we're going to get to mill at least 6 more. Yeah, gets the tower, plays the tower. I'll play the land, mill you. Power plant? Wait, power plant. 1, 2. Why are we doing it this way? 1, 2, 3. Oh! Praise the magic gods. We have successfully milled all the power plants. So that does mean we're not going to get trotted out of this game. And that hopefully means they got to crack the blast zone, right? All right, opponent cracks the blast zone, sure. Well, let's Izzet Charm, discard, and opponent scoops it up. Oh! All right, managed to take down Tron. We got our revenge. Well, I guess we can beat Tron. You just got to mill lucky. Still would like Surgical Extraction in the sideboard, though, but yeah, we'll take it. Much Abrew about nothing time. We are Storm Heralding. Storm Herald Surprise. Killer Crabs. I don't know the best name for this deck, but it's sweet. Watery Grave tapped. This hand's fine. It's mostly going to depend on how good this glimpse is. If this glimpse is good, life is good. It's like when you're doing well with your Glimpse the Unthinkables, you're doing well in life. We will Glimpse the Actually, we can glimpse and... Okay, let's do it this way. Let's 1, 2, 3 modes. Duress, kill, drain. Discard. Take a... Oh dear. I'll take a light up the stage and hope our opponent doesn't draw land? If they draw land, they can Burning Tree. All right, just a Legion Loyalist. Sure. Well, we get to spin it to win it. Is there a risk that we mill all of our black mana? You know, we're gonna take it, I think. Actually, no, we're gonna thin our deck. We're gonna shock ourselves. Get a Blood Crypt untapped. All right, so we need to mill Storm Herald and Auras. All right, well, we will accept this. Storm Herald. Coming back. Conscription, Growth, Conscription, Battle Mastery. That should be enough on turn 3. You. And, yeah, opponent doesn't even wait. Doesn't even wait to take 40 and lose all their permanents. And you know what? I think we're just going to run it back. I think we're going to run it back in this matchup. I'm not sure a whack has that much graveyard hate. So we're going to risk it because, boy, this deck is really good at winning quickly if our opponent does not have graveyard hate. It is pretty bonkers. And then we'll see if our opponent brings in a bunch of graveyard hate. Then we'll switch to the mill Crypt Incursion plan for game 3. Well, I like it. This sounds good. We got ways to fill the graveyard and an Unearth to get back a Storm Herald. Foundry Street. Wow, we draw Storm Herald. Watery Grave, untapped, and a Hedron Crab. Go. No bolts. Please, no bolts. We would like the crab to live. That's our only mill spell. Wow, okay. Bushwhacker is acceptable. So we're taking 4, but it's actually possible we just win this turn if we get lucky. Oh, we draw growth. Well, land mill ourselves. Double battle mastery, crack it, get a mountain, mill ourselves, and yeah, I mean, I guess we just pass. We can pass, Is It Charm, and then hopefully win next turn. Legion Loyalist, yeah, and a whack. This isn't lethal though, right? This is a lot, but not enough. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Sure. Well, we will take it. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, as long as there's not a Tormod script here, and there is not, we will Is It Charm, loot, discard Conscription and Storm Herald, untap, Bloodstained Mire, mill ourselves, crack Bloodstained Mire, Watery Grave, mill ourselves, unearth a Storm Herald, and and well, let's go crabs. Let's go crabs. It is pretty sweet to beat the opponent down with. With the Hedron crab. That might be my favorite part about this deck, honestly, is that a lot of the times you can beat him with a Hedron crab. Oh, yes. Well, best crab deck ever. Sweet. So what do we learn this week about Storm Herald Surprise in Modern? And the deck kind of crushed it. We went 4-1 with the deck. We played Trod twice. We lost the first time, but got revenge the second time. Crushed through like 8-wag through a As Foretold style deck. So Storm Herald Surprise, it worked exactly like we were hoping it would work. We were insanely good at winning game ones. Like the Storm Herald plan was super fast and super consistent. However, the Graveyard Hate is a concern, and it gets way, way harder and less consistent with Graveyard Hate. But then the transformational sideboard plan really did help cover our bases in a lot of matchups, and we saw our opponents be really punished. Like against the Stoneblade deck, our opponent brought in like 6 or 7 Graveyard Hate spells and drew a bunch of them, but we're like, yeah, whatever, we're just going to play Hedron crabs, and we're going to target you with Archive traps, and that was enough to let us win the game. So the transformational sideboard plan worked, and I gotta say, I love this deck. It's effective. It's consistent, it's unique, and nothing's more hilarious than building like a 40 power Hedron crab and beating your opponent down with it. It's like the most ridiculous way to win a game of Modern. The only thing I'd say, not sure about Jace's Phantasm. Like, I can see the argument, I guess, of it being a blocker in some matchups, but I really, really wish, based on our Tron experience, that we had some surgical extractions to come in alongside the mill plan. Like, maybe that's just better than Crypt Incursion or some number of Jace's Phantasms, but really, the deck was beautiful, and it performed awesomely. It was super fun. So that's Storm Herald Surprise. That's been our bunch of brew for this week. Thanks for watching. I hope you all enjoyed it, and I will talk to you soon. Did you enjoy watching Storm Herald Surprise in Modern? Well, a while ago, we played some Storm Herald in Pioneer on Much Brew. So if you're interested, make sure to check that out too.